everyone, and welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard Tiemann. This is the award-winning Fan Show. That's right. Everyone's a fan of something, and we've got something for every fan. Literally every fan today. I'm pretty sure we're going to cover it all because we had such an action-packed weekend. One of my favorite weekends of the year as we kicked off the official Indoor Football League season 2019. And we have 10 teams in the league this year. That's better than last year's 6. And then, of course, we had some action. There were some teams that were on a first-week bye, and they will see action this week, and we will talk about that this week, as well as a recap of everything. There was Oscars, there was music, there was AAF football, which we'll talk about also. I've got an interview coming up. We've got BattleBots news. We've got outdoor stuff to talk about. So all 6 divisions looked like they had something to talk about over the weekend, which is fantastic. I am a huge fan of when we have busy weekends, and that's what this weekend was. And to top it all off, Robert Kraft was in the news. Don't know if you know this. If you don't, yeah. I don't know how much we'll go into it on the show because it's kind of a dead horse at this point, but we will recap everything in our world here at the Fan Show as far as the action that went in the IFL. Quad City Steamwheelers and the San Diego Strike Force kicked us off Friday, and that was a pretty good contest. Really good for Quad City. They had a Outstanding Player of the Week. First time the Fan Show is doing that now on a weekly basis, and we tried our hand at doing some top 10 plays of the week and made a video of that. I felt it went over pretty well, and we were also doing a weekly segment, our Kickers Need Love 2 moment of the week, and the first recipient is a member of the Quad City Steamwheelers. So congrats all around. Congrats to everyone. It went off without a hitch, and that's all you can really ask for. I mean, penalties and officiating aside, which we're all going to gripe at, there was no injuries that I've heard of, except Kenneth Van Huel did suffer an injury before the season started, so thoughts out to him, big guy. You got this. Come back bigger, better, stronger than ever. I don't know if he can come back bigger. The man is already huge. He's monstrous, but he's a good guy. He's a good guy, and hopefully he comes back soon. Oh, but I guess that really we should go ahead and get right to it because we've got a lot to talk about. Lots to discuss. And so we might as well go ahead and get right to it with today's headlines. And the headlines are that the AAF had its third week of football. Of course, there was the controversy last week about the players actually getting paid. They had fixed the glitch, and so that seems to be in the past, and they're onward and upward on to bigger and better things. And speaking of bigger and better things, somebody went 4-0 on his AAF predictions of the week. That's a sweep, ladies and gentlemen. Get out that broom because I picked all 4 right, and that's pretty hard to do in football, any size league. I know that there's 8 teams, 4 matchups, but you miss one, you're only 75% right. And I got all 4, 100% right. And I think the biggest surprise for a lot of people was the Salt Lake Stallions. I said on the show when I was making my predictions Thursday, I said this is a team that has been on the wrong end of luck. They've had a lot of bad luck to start out this season. They are always in it, but somehow they're finding ways to lose. And the Hot Shots, I felt, were a team that were the opposite of that they were finding ways to win. Despite, they were trailing in week 2, and they still came back and won the damn thing. So here was our first rematch of the weekend from week 1, Stallions and Hot Shots. It was a great first game that they had. And I wish I could do the whole blitz thing right now where we go through the highlights and whatever, but I haven't quite figured that out just yet. However, the final score of the affair is... Where'd it go? There it is. Your final score, 15-23. Stallions take it. And it was really just a testament to their endurance. These guys needed to make plays. They needed to hold strong on defense. That was the big thing, and they did that. So Salt Lake Stallions were 0-2. They are now 1-2. Hot Shots 2-0. They are now 2-1. There's only 2 undefeated teams left. Don't beat me to it. We're getting there. Next up was the Memphis Express against the Orlando Apollos. Now, the Apollos just had the game of the week in week 2, really great contest, and I said that this is a team that is the team to beat in the AFL. They are playing very good football on all aspects of the game, offensive, defensive, whatever little special teams that there are. But I said this team is the standard right now, as far as I'm concerned, for the first ever Alliance of American Football. And they proved that. And they did it against the team that really is, I don't know if they've lost their way or they can't find their way, if they ever had it. The Express, they just look lost at times out there, offensively and defensively. They finally made a switch at quarterback, but it was too little too late. This one, 21-17, a closer one for the Apollos than they're used to. So I don't know if teams are just starting to catch up. If the Apollos, if there's film on them now, and that helps, but this is what you will see with these new leagues, with expansion teams. You will see some of them will start out hot, and then you'll wonder when they're not so hot, what's going on? It might not be anything that they're not doing or doing. It's just that the rest of the league, the other teams that they're facing, are catching up to them. They're getting better. We could be seeing that with the Apollos. We'll, of course, have our predictions for AAF week number 4 on Thursday. And so got that one right. Apollos move to 3-0. Then we had the Iron in Atlanta to take on the Legends. And I don't know if there's a team that looks more lost and confused than the Express, it's the Atlanta Legends. And I don't know. I can't make heads or tails of this team. It's like they have nothing going for them right now, and I'm sure that they'll figure it out. But right now, they're going to take some losses before they do. The Iron, though, man, their defense continues to be good, and they got it clicking on offense this time. This is the most points they've scored in a game all season, 28. 28-12 was your final, and I feel like they have really established an identity. This is one of the few teams that has its identity early on in the season is the Birmingham Iron. So congrats to those guys for playing solid football. The biggest surprise of the week, another rematch from week 1. That was the San Antonio Commanders taking on the San Diego Fleet, this time in San Diego. San Diego got its first win last week. San Antonio got its first loss. It was to the Apollos. So, hey, what does that mean? The Apollos, the team to beat. Are the Commanders losing a step? It's only week 2. What do we think of this? But for San Diego to come out swinging, and they did. They swung hard. 31-11 is your final in San Diego. I think Mike Martz is starting to figure it out. I think he has gotten in a groove. And San Diego is probably going to try to catch up to the Apollos. Now, they're not 3-0. They are 2-1 now. But the Commanders, they've lost 2 straight since winning their opener against the San Diego Fleet. So we will talk about week 4 probably a little bit tomorrow. And then, of course, we'll do my predictions on Thursday. So make sure that you tune in for that. But it was another solid performance from this brand new league, this developmental league, which I'm happy to see. The Bleacher Report feed in the app I thought was fantastic. I could hear everything, so I couldn't practice my own commentary, but hey, that's okay. But I one of the funny things about football, and it's not the same with the indoor game, the NAL or the IFL, but one of the funny things that my wife and I were talking about was she was just like, oh, the AAF's on today, right? And I was like, yep. She's like, CBS? I'm like, no. And she's like, NBC? I'm like, no, they don't have a contract with NBC. She's just like, ABC? And I'm like, no, this one's on TNT. She's like, TNT? There's still a thing? She's like, I thought they were on the network. I was like, they are on the NFL network, but not this game. Football needs to have one home because NFL is either on the network, ESPN, NBC, Fox, or CBS. That's 5 channels. 5 different channels that a football game could be on. Now, granted, ESPN is the home of Monday Night Football, and NBC is the home of Sunday Night Football, and the network or Fox or whoever's got the contract at that time, hell, even Amazon Prime, could be the home of Thursday night. But it's still like you have to stop and actually think, wait, where am I going? For wrestling, that's what I love about WWE. It's either on USA or the network. Done, done, and done. Like, if the NFL could figure out that, I'd be so happy. And unfortunately, it's the same way for the AAF. One place I don't have to search for my football is in the IFL and the NAL. They are live on YouTube, which is, I think, fantastic because you don't have to have a smart TV, just one with internet access. You type in youtube.com, subscribe to their respected pages, and boom, you get notifications. This game is about to start, and you are watching football on YouTube. And week 1 did not disappoint. We had Friday night, San Diego Strike Force, the expansion team out of Cali, taking on the newcomers from the CIF to the IFL Quad City Steamwheelers in Illinois. And there was a lot of people thinking that, okay, are we going to get some good, solid competition out of this Quad Cities team? And I believe that we did. They had one outstanding player of the game, player of the week, and that was their kicker, Jacob Stitz. I apologize if I said that incorrectly. I'm still getting to know some of you guys. So Jacob Stitz, or Stites, I think it's Stites. Why am I saying it so many times? Jacob Stites, outstanding kicker or special teams player of the week. He was perfect. He went 9 for 9 on extra points, 1 field goal, but it was a banger. 41 yards. In the indoor world, that's like kicking 65, man. And it was true. It was beautiful. Jacob, if you're watching, it was beautiful. Bangerang. And he needs some better commentary on that play because the announcers was just like, oh, hey, there's a kick. Oh, it's good. And I was like, how dare you? How dare you? Kickers need love too, folks, okay? And he is our Kickers Need Love 2 moment of the week from week 1 with that 41-yarder. So congratulations again, Jacob. The outstanding offensive player of the week went to Nebraska's own Tommy Armstrong. Dude had a day. The best way to put it. He went and threw for 153 yards. And then he had 5 touchdowns, 1 rushing, 4 passing, and no interceptions. I mean, you can't have a better debut performance in front of your hometown. He's from Nebraska. It was great. So they took down the Bismarck Bucks, who unfortunately did not have as successful an outing as the newcomers, the Quad City Steamwheelers. The Bucks we also got from the CIF. They'll figure it out, though. Quad City would go on to win against the San Diego Strike Force. Strike Force kept it interesting, but this is a brand new team, one of 2 expansion teams. Tucson did not play, so we will see how it goes for the rest of their season. But I think that when you're looking around at the talent that we have in this league, there's plenty to go around. Even with the AAF, there's plenty of talent to go around. So, a score recap, San Diego Strike Force 49, Quad City Steamwheelers, full steam ahead, 67. And then we had the Bismarck Bucks and the Nebraska Danger. 44-66 was your final. Bismarck tried to make it interesting, but it was all gas, no brakes for the Danger. Their running back had, I think, 90 yards on the ground. And their O-line, they're up for O-line of the week, which we will come back to also. Then we had the Sioux Falls Storm going to Cedar Rapids to take on the recently rebranded River Kings. And this one, you look at the score and you say, oh, it was the game of the week. It wasn't, because this one shouldn't have come down to this. There was a walk-off field goal for the win, 33 yards, modest, okay. He had missed 2 earlier that game, and it's good to have your kicker come in the clutch, but there were 2 touchdowns by the River Kings that were blown coverages. I mean, there was nobody even in the vicinity, even in the same arena as these guys that just took off. So Sioux Falls came back, win it by 3, 47-44 is your final in Cedar Rapids. And then we had the icing on the cake, the matinee, the feature presentation, the Arizona Rattlers taking on the Green Bay Blizzard. First half, man, it was a solid first half by both teams. Green Bay's defense stepped it up. In fact, outstanding defensive player of the week for week 1 goes out to Mr. Marquez Gallman. Phenomenal performance. Really had a just fantastic. I think he had 9 total tackles, 2 interceptions, and it was just really great to see that kind of athleticism and competition going on going on around in Green Bay. Arizona, though, too much on offense, and then they ran away with it towards the end there. 51-21 was your final. Verlin Reed from Salt Lake and played in Arizona last year before he got hurt in the first game of the season, sidelined from there on. He had himself a great game as well. And that is your week 1 recap for the IFL. We will, of course, go over week number 2, which will finally see action from the reigning champion Iowa Barnstormers, as well as the second expansion team, the Tucson Sugar Skulls. And in other news, we had the top 10. I did my best to do a top 10, so you can see that on the Facebook page, the YouTube channel, as well as Twitter. So at Fan Show Official, Facebook.com/Fan Show Official, and then the YouTube channel. I couldn't tell you what the direct link is, but you can find it on the Facebook page as well. So go give us a like, give us a share. It's doing very well, and you can see all the moments, including the best the best touchdown celebration, which was by Quad City's Mr. Wiggins for the air guitar. I thought that was fantastic. Then in NFL news, it is tag season, so tag, you're it. And Robbie Gould is the first one. 49ers kicker. They don't want to lose him. They don't want to make the same mistake the Bears did. and I've seen a few tweets from Bears fans talking about the franchise tag. And it's just like, you're just mad because you had Cody Parkey when it mattered. And now he's gone. And then Irving suspended. Well, pending suspension in Dallas. David Irving is pending suspension. Defensive tackle is under evaluation from the NFL for a potential suspension. League sources told ESPN on Tuesday Irving was suspended for the start of the past 2 seasons for a violation of the NFL's drug policy. You can't fix stupid. You can't. Some of these guys you just can't get right, and it's on them to do it. So I say cut your losses. There's plenty of guys at the IFL, NAL level that would love a shot, that are keeping it clean, that are doing their best to not get in trouble, and these guys are. However, that may be pending suspension. Someone who is actually suspended is Gregory from Dallas, indefinite suspension. So he's gone bye-bye. So great things happening in Dallas to start off the 2019 offseason. Happy Combine Day. Also, Combine starts today, so we will get a look at the future of the NFL, the young talent that is out there thirsting for a spot at the 53. And finally, Robert Kraft was in the news for the NFL. Well, not for the NFL, and I don't really know what category this would fall under of the 6 divisions, but it's friggin' hilarious, because in Spokane we have warning signs about this. So, if it looks too good to be true when it comes to happy endings, I guess, then it's probably too damn good to be true. It might be a sting. In outdoors news, the All-Star Bass Fishing Team has a league open March 2nd at Siltcoos Lake in Oregon, Florence, Oregon. So go and check that out if you're in the area. Bobby Brown puts on a great event. It's a lot of fun. I don't know if the weather is any warmer down there than up here, so you might be ice fishing for bass, but that can always be fun too. In robotics, BattleBots official? Yes, I think. So Discovery and the Science Channel have yet to make an official announcement on their page, but BattleBots did make their own official announcement that tickets are available for the tapings of what is going to be called BattleBots Season 4. So that will happen again in April if you're in the area, or if you're not. I encourage you to go to this if you have the opportunity to, because it is a hell of a lot of fun. I hope to be back this season for another taping. It was just one of the best times of my life. Some of the best content the Fan Show has ever had came out of one of the most unlikely places, and that was BattleBots. So very happy for them. In pop culture, and we'll tie in music as well. Those 2 divisions are pop culture division and music. The Oscars happened. Bohemian Rhapsody, 4 of 5. They did not get Best Picture, but Rami Malek did get Best Actor in a Leading Role, and I thought that was great. Well deserved. Green Book got Best Picture. I never heard of that movie until that night. And then Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse dethroned Disney's 7-year winning streak, even though Marvel's still technically Disney, but it's not. It was Sony Pictures for Best Animated Feature. That's awesome. I have not seen that movie yet, and all I've heard are great things, so that might be something to put on the list to do this weekend. And then finally in wrestling, it is Ric Flair's 70th birthday. Woo! So happy birthday to the Nature Boy. And to wrap it all up before we get to our interview with Coach Ross from the Quad City Steamwheelers, which reminds me, click the link, okay, if you want to hear the rest of this episode, including the interview with Coach Ross, you will need to click it over there, because as soon as we're done here with this segment, with this portion of the show, cut it off, and we move on, and then we wrap it up. This is a nice little thing I do for you guys right now. But yes, please get over there. You can continue the conversation by hitting up the chat over there. And I apologize to you guys in the chat right now because it's not loading like it does on my personal Facebook page. So Adam's like, Gregory suspended again? Yes, he is. And then let's see here. Adam says the Bears tried to release Parkey, but the papers hit the upright. Well done, sir. Thank you, Adam. This is why we're friends. Yeah, the Storms D was soft. I did not just say that. Sioux Falls Storm defense did look lost at times. But, Jose Jefferson and I were talking during that game. There was a lot of messages that came into my inbox during that game. And sorry to side note here, but I feel it needs to be mentioned. Curtis Riggs and the Sioux Falls Storm, in all reality, in all seriousness, they are the New England Patriots of the indoor football world. Like, we think that they're done with their reign, with their dominance, and then they're right back in it, and then they go to the championship. They might not win the championship every time, but you can never count this team out. Plain and simple, period, end of story. So the defense is a concern. It's a concern that they will address, IFL fans. So, okay, back on track here. So click over to Spreaker.com if you want to hear the rest of the episode, including the interview with Coach Corey Ross from Quad City of the Steamwheelers. We had a great conversation. It really was his first time on the show, and it was a fantastic talk, so we look forward to that. There is a chat feature on Spreaker, so when you hop over, still join in on the conversation. I'll be there. I'll be ready. I'll be listening to myself talk to another guy. But feel free to give us a like on Facebook, which is where you're watching right now. Share the love, share the wealth, all that good stuff. Listen, laugh, love. And then, of course, follow us on Twitter at Fan Show Official and the Instagram, which is simply The Fan Show. And if you can't listen live, if you can't watch live, then please subscribe. iTunes, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker. There's 5 different ways that you can enjoy The Fan Show at your leisure, and we encourage that. So, our last headline for the headline segment, and this one is going to deserve a little bit of audio assistance here, and that is that last night was Monday Night Raw, which I have not seen yet, so don't spoil all of it. I know some spoilers, which is why I'm going to say what I'm about to say. And it was announced that Roman Reigns would be making a return to give us an update on his battle with leukemia. I have not been the biggest Roman Reigns fan, if at all, and I can admit that. But that's his character. His person, though, is something completely different. Him as a human being, I think he's a great guy. I really do. I didn't like John Cena for the longest time for the same reasons, but I warmed up to him. Well, he came back last night, and he is back after last night. He has announced that his leukemia is in full remission. That gets the button. That gets myself here. Congrats, Roman Reigns. Congrats. And that's going to do it for the headlines, which I believe I forgot to say is brought to you by Dynamite Enterprises, who is going to be doing a bit more work for me for the upcoming tour, which first stop is March 9th in Des Moines, Iowa for the banner raise, if you're going to get technical on me, raising the championship banner, and we will see that when they play Green Bay, the Blizzard, who hopefully will have a win in the win column, or one in the win column that week. But it's going to be a great weekend of football. This weekend will be another great weekend of football. We're going to talk more about it tomorrow night, obviously, of course, and then Thursday before we send you into the weekend. But thank you for tuning in and for getting a recap and catching up on everything that happened. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Coach Ross. So check out Dynamite Enterprises at dynamiteenterprises.com and hit up Ethan at dynamiteenterprises.com, where they want to customize your world. So this is the Fan Show, and this is my conversation with Coach Corey Ross, the Quad City Steamwheelers. Enjoy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, next up to celebrate kickoff in the IFL 2019 season, they are one of the 4 new teams, the Quad City Steamwheelers. They're not an expansion, but they are one of the new faces, and here is the head coach of that new face, Coach Ross. How you doing, sir?
I am good, man. Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. It's an honor. I know a lot of good things about Quad City. Haven't been there yet, but it is on my to-do list. But last year, you guys came back after a bit of a hiatus, and the fans could not have been happier. Win, lose, or draw, that place was rocking. What do you attribute that to?
Oh man, just we got great ownership here, and do a great job of getting into the community as a team. But at the same time, we do a lot of media and advertisements, and we also are on TV a lot. This community just loves the Quad City Steamwheelers, and they're so glad that we're back. And so it's been exciting for us just to be out here. And then again, we got players and coaches that are local that also help out in that retrospect. But, I mean, it's just an exciting place to be at, and we're enjoying every minute of it.
Absolutely. The right people in the right places helps make a machine like that roll along.
Absolutely.
And obviously, you are no stranger to that. How long have you been involved in indoor football and been a coach for indoor football?
I've been just coach for about 5 years. Just kind of still young at it. Ended up stopped playing football with my playing days around 2013, and was finishing my degree, and got caught into the Lincoln Haymakers at the time.
Oh, wow.
It was right there while I was in Lincoln, finishing my degree at Nebraska, and ended up starting off as a position coach, and gradually moved up and fell in love with the things you can do, the creativity you have as a coordinator, and it was kind of all she wrote from there. I kind of fell in love with indoor fall.
Yeah, the rest is history, as they say. And is the Quad City your first head coaching gig, or have you had others before that?
No, I was a head coach of the Omaha Beef as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just 2 years ago I was there. Got a coach there for 3 years. 2 decent years, got us to the championship game back in 2017, and that's when I got a call to come to Quad Cities, and decided to make that change myself, and venture out and try something on my own and start something that fresh that was ours, and create my own tradition and identity as an organization. So this has been a fun approach for me.
Yeah, and you're in good company, because I'm thinking, and I don't know Stout's history all that far back, but I know Dixie has been the guy in Iowa for, this will be his 3rd or 4th year, and then of course Coach Kevin Guy has been around forever, and same with Curtis Riggs. So you're one of the more tenured coaches out there as far as your involvement with the indoor world of football, and as a head coach, what's it make you feel like to know that you share the battlefield with guys like that in this league?
Oh, obviously this league has been around for a long time, and when you talk about indoor football, all you can think about is those coaches. You talk about Wooten, former recently champion of Iowa Barnstormers, but he's been in indoor for some time now as well. I think he also was with Bemidji, so he's just been around. But Stout's been around for a long time. Of course, we talked about Riggs and Coach Guy. Those guys have been making some great names for themselves, and definitely our Hall of Fame caliber coaches. And so it's just awesome to be able to not only compete against them, because we all are competitors. We had a league meeting, and it was an awesome experience, and just hearing every conversation and on side notes, things like that. We were having a good time, but you can just hear the competitive nature that each of us have, and of course we all wish each other the best, but we definitely want to get after each other's neck.
Yeah, you guys all have your feelings about each other. There's the formalities, and then of course you try to be as pleasant as you can, the pleasantries. But then once that whistle blows and it's game time, all bets are off, and you're not friends anymore necessarily.
Oh, absolutely. But the beautiful part about it all, is obviously I like to sit on the outside and just watch. I'm a people watcher, but as I watched each of these coaches and how they move around and how they conversate, it's it's a special league to be into because these guys all have the same goals and I have in the beginning of my coaching career. It's really trying to get some guys opportunities to play at a higher level, and it's still there's so many of us of football players that graduate and there's only so many that can go to the NFL or get called up to the Canada League, things like that. And so this definitely opens up another door and another avenue for a lot of players and these coaches, and especially in this IFL, do a great job at putting guys in the best position to get them looks. And it's awesome to see that that's what their approach is as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think that you guys definitely have some of the best mindsets. I've talked to a few different players and coaches that it's like, you're at this level, you're here for opportunity. Players want to get filmed, coaches want to help develop, but of course, there's a championship at the end of the season, so why not try to win that thing as well, and make sure that you got the best out of the season that you could. And I think you guys are well on your way up in Quad City. Week 1 in the books. You guys are one of 2 new kids on the block, you and Bismarck, coming over from another league, but then there are 2 expansion teams, Tucson, yes, as well as San Diego. Tucson did not see action in week 1, but you guys hosted San Diego, and Bismarck's outing against Nebraska was not quite how your season opener was. You guys had the honor of opening the season. How'd that make you feel? All eyes were on you Friday night.
Oh, I mean, we were excited about it. We really wanted to open up and start fast on offense and try to get some turnovers on defense, and that's what we did. Obviously, there's a lot of things that we think we need to work on, and we have to clean up. Penalties, I think, for every one of these teams is something you don't want to have, or brain farts or busted coverages, things like that. You have during week 1, and we want to try to make sure we get that down each game. But as far as an overall effort, these guys, they couldn't wait to get out there. They couldn't wait to get in front of our fan base and just really explode. And it was a good showing, but I definitely have some things that we need to work on. And as we get ready for this opening game for Iowa coming up, their first game against us and with the returning champion. So definitely another test that we definitely have to take.
Yeah, I was going to say, the champs, they got to kind of sit back and relax, kick the feet up, and see how the rest of the competition played out. And I'd hate to say, the honeymoon phase is over, but you guys right back to work. You will be at home again, which is good. So that ruckus crowd in Quad City will host the reigning champion Iowa Barnstormers. How's that make you feel?
Oh, hey, I'd rather get them right now than later. We have a game under our belt. They got an early game, or this is their first game. But if I know Coach Wooten, as well as the conversations we've had over the phone, he's going to have those guys ready. So we got to make sure that we put our best foot forward, and we got to make sure we make the blocks that need to be made, the catches that need to be caught, and score the points that need to be scored, and we'll see how we fare out towards the end of that game.
Before you guys were in the IFL, you and Iowa, no strangers to each other, you actually had some scrimmages last year, which seemed to be a more popular thing this year amongst the league. And that, of course, started the talk, the rumors. Are we going to see Quad City in the IFL? Which I was hoping, because I had heard so many great things about you. But I was talking to a guy earlier today, a young student athlete who's on his path to the draft, hopefully, and I said, what do you feel elevates your game, your skill, and to get scouts to look at you? And he said, it's the competition. And you in Iowa, you and Dixie, there's some friendly competition there. Do you feel like you guys elevate each other when you're out there on the same field?
Absolutely. He obviously, being the champion, I think everyone's going to be out to get Iowa this year, no question. So I think he's going to elevate each and every one of us. So to say he's the only one, just conversations I had with all of them. And again, Green Bay Corey Roberson came in here, and again, Stout came in here for a scrimmage on the 9th of February, and those guys are going to be guys that's just going to elevate and make us all elevate our game as well. So I think the IFL being new to it has a strong tradition of some great coaches, man, and some things that you can learn from each and every one of them. And me being so young into it, obviously I don't have all the answers, but I can definitely pick my spots and try to make some things happen, and then hopefully do it. But I'm so proud to be a part of the IFL. I'm proud to be amongst these coaches, and hopefully I'll learn something and definitely give them something worth talking about after the game.
Well, you guys have a great culture. You've got a great fan base. Personally, I think you guys have great uniforms, and I look forward to seeing the full color versions here pretty quick. But most of all, you guys have great talent. I did my first ever top 10 plays of the week from week 1, and your guys nabbed spots 1 and 3. Keith Lewis with his over the dasher board INT, which I am such a big fan of, not only defense but that extra effort. And then of course your running back or your receiver Mr. Rudd with that helmet catch, his own version of it to give you guys the touchdown. Your kicker got my outstanding special teams award because he was perfect. I mean, every sense of the word, plus a 41-yarder, which in the indoor game, not easy to do. Do you think, is it being a Steamwheeler or is it playing for Coach Ross that sells these guys on coming to Quad City?
I think we all like to believe that what we do and what we stand for, guys can respect that, and I like to give them nothing but the most brutal honesty I can, and try to give them as much of a feel of professionalism that I actually got the opportunity to play in. And I think these guys respect that. But at the same time, it's not necessarily what I'm doing. All I can do is make sure the community loves my guys, and I bring in the right guys that the community will rally around. But at the same time, it's these guys are the ones that's playing ball. Coaches coach, but players play. And you, like you said, the fear, the no fear that you see in Lewis, the no fear, and you see in Rudd going over walls and putting their body on the line is something that I value and respect so much with these young men. When you come out here, this is a brutal game, man. This indoor, those walls never win, or those walls never lose, is what I say. and I'm a coach that's coaching in this league that didn't play indoor football. Had an opportunity, but I just, it was right at the end of my career, so I was like, nah, I'm jumping here and coach. And I see some of these catches and some of these tackles against the wall. I'm not too sure about how my body would have felt. So there's a level of respect I just have for these guys. And when they come out here and they do this, not only for the love of this game, because there's not a lot of money in this, and I think everybody knows it. So when you get a good group of guys that rally amongst each other and go on that field and go to battle with each other, man, and come out victorious. It's a special thing to watch as a coach and just be a part of. And so, like I said, it's all about what these players do. They handle their business on the football field. All we can do is the X and O's parts and make sure we got a game plan ready for them to put their best foot forward.
Of course. And, interesting fun fact there, I did not know that you did not have a history in indoor. But do you feel, does that give you an advantage, because indoor football, or the indoor football league, does not have where you can play the ball off the rebound nets? There's definitely a run game aspect, and your defense is key. So you have a lot more of the fundamentals of football in play in this league, which is obviously how you win in a lot of different versions of football. So advantage, disadvantage, you not playing a game that you now coach for.
Well, I don't necessarily think it's an advantage or disadvantage. I like to think that indoor football and in the IFL football, the rules, you can have some outdoor qualities. Like you said, there's leagues that I've watched, and one is arena football, and I believe it's the NAL league, those leagues that have the Arena One football rules, where it seems like there's not enough, it's more based on scoring and throwing, and where the IFL, you can actually run the football. The IFL and CIF, I believe, actually run the football and actually put game plans together and try to be a more balanced attack. So it reminds me of outdoor. So I think this is the best football league to be into right now, because you are you're able to create some zone schemes from outdoor and bring it indoor, and some run schemes from outdoor and bring it indoor, and actually have a balanced attack. So that's what I love about it.
Beautiful. I love the way that you put that, and I completely agree with that sentiment. So, last question I have for you, Coach, is obviously, every team's intent, whether they're an expansion, a newcomer, or a long tenured history, is to get that championship at the end of the season and hopefully give their guys some opportunities at bigger and better things along the way. For you, if you had to choose something other than a championship at the end of the season, what would your goal be as far as leaving a mark on your first season with the IFL?
Wow, that's a great question. I think we're all in this game to win football games. There's no question about that. But I being in indoor the 5 years that I have been, I hope to not only impact these guys on a professional level in football and getting them a shot and things like that. And of course, winning championships would be awesome. But I like to try to get some of these guys, because a lot of them, don't know what to do after football, or in the process of just playing indoor, and hopefully they can stay in indoor for a while. There's a lot of teams and a lot of players that I've been around this year in these last 5 years that are so stuck and on playing. We're living somewhere for 5 months and then have nothing else to do. So we hope to impact here, getting guys jobs, opportunities to, live and focus, because as many of them have the ability, there's a very rare occasion where guys are getting actual looks and getting picked up. And you have to be an all-star, all-league kind of guy. And there's only so many of those that get picked up. So I hope to change some guys' lives and not only elevate them on the football field, but elevate them in life and what they want to do while they're still playing, picking up some. We got some guys that's taking some responsibility on our team right now that's really changing some of their lives. Quentin Pedroza is a teacher now up here. He went back home after he played with me last year and just didn't have it back home, didn't have the jobs. He couldn't get the job he wanted to, and he came right back to Quad City, ended up moving into a place, and the city loves him. These schools that he's teaching at love him, and he fell in love with it. And he didn't know he was going to be a teacher, and so it's things like that to me are pretty awesome. Besides the football stuff, that's always great. We know what we're in this business for. That's to win games, to be in playoffs and win championships. That's awesome. But for me, it's pretty cool to get some of these guys to take a different approach at this football look, just in case it doesn't happen. As long as you're putting forth the effort, you can say you always tried, you never gave up. But at the same time, you also worked at trying to, better yourself and better your housing situation, your life situation. So hopefully that's what I can do, is leave some marks on some of these guys when they leave here. They're trying to look at other jobs and just open their eyes a little bit more than just football.
Well, you won your home opener to kick off the entire season, and I think you won this interview as well. Great words from you, Coach, and I wish you guys the best of luck this season. Personally, I think you guys are going to be that team that other teams start to circle on their calendar and that people start buzzing about in the next weeks to come.
Yeah. I appreciate that. We have a great approach, man. One game at a time, and I think everyone does that. I think all champions think alike. It's one game at a time, and we got our goals set on Iowa right now, and if we can get out of this thing 2-0 going into our bye week, we'll feel a little better about what the year's going to transpire.
All right, it is full steam ahead for the Wheelers of Quad City, and he is head coach Corey Ross. Coach, I thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute honor and pleasure to have you on for your debut on the Fan Show. We'll talk to you again this season.
Appreciate you having me. Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care of yourself.
All right, buddy.
All right. And once again, thank you, Coach Ross. That's going to take us down to our sweet spot here on the Fan Show, as we like to call it, where we're trying to get between 45 and 55 minutes of good quality episode, and I feel that we have done that on this Tuesday evening, and I encourage all of you to please like, share, love, follow, subscribe, and most importantly, listen to the Fan Show. But we've got a lot more variety of content, including our Players of the Week that you will see weekly now, not just for the IFL, but when the NAL starts up again, and then we'll continue to do our top 10 plays of the week. So visually, you can see more of the Fan Show and what we're all about, but it's really just another day, another grind here in Fan Cave Studio. But is it really a grind when you love what you do so much? I don't think it is. So thank you all for joining me and for getting caught up. And don't forget to subscribe if you can't listen live. And that is iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and of course, Spreaker.com, which is where you can subscribe or listen live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night. And follow us on social media, Twitter and Instagram. Twitter is @FanShowOfficial. Instagram is The Fan Show. We have a Snapchat, but we never use it, but that's the Fan Show too if you want to be there. And then, of course, Facebook, which is kind of like our website since ours isn't up just yet. I know I keep saying that week in and week out, but trust me when I say that it'll be eventually. And that is facebook.com/fanshow official. And thank you once again. And we'll be back tomorrow night with an all-new episode, all new guests, all new conversations, same great Fan Show. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, and remember, of course, it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night, folks.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his own player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the Fan Show.